Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new kind of series here on my second channel, Christian 2. And yes, Christian 2 is my second channel. And I'm doing here a kind of like fun kind of podcast, not a podcast, but kind of podcast, saying my favorite class cards for each class, starting off with legendary type. So, going to say what are my favorite legendaries for each class of all times. Well, my mind might change in the future maybe, but for now we're going with, of course, starting with that knight class, ending up with warrior. Don't look at the top of the spoilers if you I couldn't hide them. Anyway, so of course going on with that knight. You already saw it, Patrick, my favorite legendary for the Death Knight class. It's a very versatile removal and also very combo disturbing card. It's very nice and very well oriented against today's meta decks, such as OTK everywhere. Everywhere you go, there is always an OTK. No matter if it's mage, warrior, maybe priest, but there is always going to be an OTK. Or if it's not an OTK, there is always a very combo card, such as Odin, which is kind of, my opinion, an OTK type of card because you can get 30 armor very quickly with warrior in one turn, so it's obviously an OTK. So Patrick, get Odin out, you win the game instantly because Odin is the most important card in Warrior right now, so very nice. But not only, I love destroying and eating cards. If you watch my videos, you know that I love playing TK2s, I like playing Symphony of Sins and lots of fun cards. Mutanus, so similar with Patrick, but this one is better. When I first saw Patrick, I was like, wow, that's my favorite card, let's go. And now moving on to the next class, which is is a Death Knight. No, it's Demon Hunter. Don't you guys do the same thing, like Demon Hunter confused with the Death Knight? Demon Hunter, Jas, Dark Waver, amazing, very fun card. This makes Demon Hunter a very unique class, having so many awesome fel spells. Warlocks have some, but I guess not many others. Fel is a really interesting kind of spell. And I gotta say, Demon Hunter could make such a good spectacle, such a good game with this card. But unfortunately, it's a wild card at the moment. But no problem, I can play wild anytime I want. And Jas definitely provides the content I need and the fun and entertainment I want to see from a video. If I want to watch a video, I want to see something fun, something random, and this provides fun and random and protection and defense and aggressivity. And why not perhaps OTK, because fel spells could go very crazy and stack your attack, and you can do so many interesting combos with this guy. I like it. Moving on to Druid, this is quite a surprise for lots of people perhaps, but Hadronox has been one of my friends for a very long time, and I really appreciate Hadronox. It's a beast. Beasts are cool. Spiders, they are also very cool. And you know what else cool? What's cool? It's taunts and dash roddle. I am a huge fan of taunts and dash roddles. Really fun synergies, very fun mechanics, and you can always trust a good taunt that protects your face from being pounded every single turn by Odin Armor Warrior players. But, you know, Hadronox is a very expensive card, very difficult to pull off, but if you've been watching my Taunt Druid videos, you know how fun Hadronox is, and my good old buddy friend Hadronox has saved me and made me so happy. We have so many amazing memories together, and we'll never forget that. Alright, moving on to the next class, which is Druid. It's not Druid, it's Hunter. And for everybody's surprise, yeah, I know, you can pick your jaw off the floor. A nice jokes, Chris. I know, and Marius is a surprise even for me, but this is my favorite legendary from Hunter to get from Dragon Queen and to play. I haven't really played that much Emeris, but every single time I'm thinking about Wild, I'm thinking about Emeris. It's such a fun and amazing card, and I wish one day it gets buffed to, let's say, 8 mana to become playable. We do have in Standard a legendary that doubles the attack and health of all minions in your deck, but this one does in your hand. And I think Blizzard should reconsider and make this minion a little bit playable, because it's one of my favorite Hunter legendary cards. And I really wanted to highlight it a little bit and show you how fun it could be, because it's such a nice card, but it sees zero play because it's very, very difficult to play such a big mana cost card without anything happening in the same turn. So you basically play a 10 mana 8/8 that doesn't do anything, it's just an 8/8 on the board, and the next turn we'll see some improvements, some amazing stuff, such as getting King Crush from your hand, and King Crush is a 16 now, and other stuff. And I'm really happy to play with this card, but that doesn't happen that often because it's very, very difficult to play it. Now, moving on to Mage. Well, this is probably not a surprise for a lot of people, because Grand Magister Romath is one of the strongest cards you could play. If you want to have fun, of course, you could play, you know, Sif and OTK your opponent with your spell damage, your 6 mana Malygos Sif. It's really, really good, but Grand Magister Romath has always a very nice place in my heart. It's really fun, really random. You can do so many amazing stuff with it. And we all know that I love random and I love casting spells and getting so much content out of it. And why not entertaining and getting my day better? Brightening up my day with some random spells casting in my face is always a nice day. It's always great. Now, moving on to Paladin. That's right, Lady Liadrine makes the list. I know, some people might be like, wait, isn't Lady Liadrine literally unplayable in Wild? Well, technically it is, but Lady Liadrine has served me so well in 2020. Super nice, super good card. Ashes of Outland, a very strong expansion, and Libram Paladin has turned out to be a really, really solid Paladin deck that has thrived for a very, very long time in standard format. And thanks to Lady Liadrine, I had those amazing memories together, and such a nice card to play on turn 7 and get so much value, so much Libram of Hope, Libram of Wisdom, and many, many other spells. And gotta say, it's really, really good. There is another 7 mana card that was competing with this, but I guess Lady Liadrine is amazing and I really like it. Alright, moving on to, of course, Priest, everybody's favorite class. Yeah, this is probably a surprise for you, but we all know I love long games. Long games. Some people might consider boring because, you know, people these days, they just want to win on turn 1 if it's possible. So if you press the play button, you want to win instantly. Well, unfortunately, that's not possible. For me, it's the opposite. I want to have a game as long as possible. I want to experience as many cards as possible and test and have and enjoy as many cards as I can. And Benedictus, Archbishop Benedictus provides that to me, provides that experience, and provides me a long fatigue game. And, you know, you never know, maybe your opponent's playing Druid and you want to get your deck back if you survive after Togoggle, or Tony, King of Piracy, eats your deck. It's literally switching the deck. And you want to get your deck back, but you're probably not going to survive. Anyway, moving on to everybody's favorite class, aka Rogue. I mean, this is probably not a surprise for a lot of people because Tess Greymane was and is one of the best Rogue cards to have fun with. It's an ultimate endgame card, probably for lots of games, because you play this guy and you get a bunch of crazy cards you've played from other classes, and targets are chosen randomly, and that's always fun. And this card has proven that it's really, really good, and even Blizzard made it cheaper. This card used to cost 8 mana, and now it's 7. But yet hasn't seen that much play in Standard because it didn't have place I mean, it's very, very expensive. Rogues usually play 0 mana cards. Max, that's the max cost for rogue cards is 0, so this is 7, that's a little bit too high. But nonetheless, Test Greymane, Cutlass, really, really good. But Cutlass is not, it's not a legendary. So I chose, this is a legendary list. My favorite legendary minions. Not spells, we get to that later. Subscribe if you want to see that as well. And of course, moving on to, you probably read that already, but if you didn't, this is it. Yeah, that's right. The good old, mighty, powerful, my jaws that catch, my claws that bite. I said it the other way to be to be more fun. So yeah, Shadowhawk, one of the strongest shaman cards of all time. Very, very amazing and iconic card for the game. Shadowhawk definitely broke the game and did so many crazy nonsense stuff and is still doing crazy stuff. And it's always very infuriating every time you see it played against you, but it's very fun when you play against with I just said what I didn't want to say. So yeah, Shadowhawk repeats a lot of battle cries. Really crazy. And I think it's making the list. I think Shadowhawk is super iconic, and it's probably not gonna get nerfed because of it, even though lots of people don't like Shadowhawk. And yeah, you probably know this already. Like, if you're watching me for a very long time, we all know, and everybody knows, I'm a huge fan of TK2. 6 mana 8/8 demon. Wow, that's really good as it is. But Battlecry, remove top 5 cards from your deck, and if you corrupt this, your opponent's deck instead. And corrupt means this is 6 mana. You have to play a 7 mana card to corrupt it. Or if you make this cheaper, you can corrupt it with even cheaper cards. So really love it. In combination with Brand, this could be a very, very powerful card. Removing 10 cards already from opponent's deck is really big, and you have no idea how many cards I have removed from my opponents. I mean, I want to say 8 cards. I eat cards because that sounds more fun. Instead of remove, just say eat. Eat the top 5 cards from your deck. Corrupt your opponent's deck instead. And the last but not least, Warrior. It was quite tough, to be honest, to decide about Warrior. Warrior doesn't have that crazy nonsense like, oh my goodness, Warriors, wow. I would have said Odin, but I am not a huge fan of Odin, unfortunately. Odin is a little bit too aggressive for my liking. Nelly, the Great Treasure, deserves to come back. I really hope Blizzard will unnerf it. Unfortunately, it's not. It's still very weak, but it used to be my favorite warrior card. Every time I was playing Nelly, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this card so much. So cool. So interesting. 7 mana 5/5, summon a cool thing, and amazing. And I was loving to play this in Pirate Warrior, and I do like to play Pirate Warrior, despite the fact that I dislike playing against Pirate Warrior. As you might say, well, that's very weird. You don't like Pirate Warrior, but you love playing with Pirate Warrior. Well, that's right. That's right. And Nelly was providing a very good content and was doing my quest justice. It was completing my quest. I really enjoyed doing that. And pirates are very fun to play with, but not against. Well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed my top 11 legendary cards from each class. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all into the next one. Hopefully it's gonna be as fun as this one. Goodbye, everyone.